I don't know what else I can tell you before I introduce my wife, because she really is the driving force in our family. I asked how I should introduce her. She said, Your Majesty will do fine. But what I want to say to you is something that I heard recently, and it was a quote taken from a Robert Alden. And he said, there's not enough darkness in the world that can put out the light from a single candle. And you are the candles that are going to light the future. And that's why we're here today, to help you navigate your way to be able to achieve that dream, to be able to hold up that candle, to light the darkness that cannot be put out. So to conclude here and invite my wife, Janet Langhart Cohen, who is really a very special woman, individual. She grew up in Indianapolis. She was the daughter of a single-parent mother. She lived basically in a ghetto. And had to overcome all of the obstacles of living in Klan territory, basically. Indianapolis was the regional home of the Ku Klux Klan. And yet her mother gave her values. Her mother said, get your education. Study hard. Stay away from all of the mischievous things that young people can get into. Be a good student, because that's something that's going to make your future. And she took advantage of that and listened to her mother, and as a result, she went on to become a fashion model. She became very close to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. during the last 2 years of his life. He was her mentor, although she really was a follower of Malcolm X, I must say. And that's another story altogether. But nonetheless, one other story about Janet, and that has to do with Muhammad Ali, who was a very close friend of hers. He said something after he had been stripped of his title. He met her in a parade and had a chance to talk, and she said, Muhammad, they've taken everything from you. He said, no, they haven't taken everything from me. They haven't taken me from me. Don't you ever want something so badly that only they can give it to you? Because if they give it to you, they can take it away from you, and there'll be nothing of you. And so the message from her mother, from Martin Luther King Jr., from Muhammad, get your education. Understand who you are and what you can achieve. The dream is out there for you to grab it, and we're here to help you grab it. Thank you very much. Janet, you please come up.
Thank you, Bill. When you live with someone, you talk to them in a different way at home than you do in public. And those are glowing remarks. Thank you. You've been paying attention to everything I said. Some husbands do that. I came here today because my dear friend Avis Robinson loves you all so much, and she wanted me to come and see you and gaze on you. And that's what I'm doing. You, as Bill said, are the future. I'm looking at the future. And it is bright. As Oprah said, it is blinding. And you, when you look at me, you're looking at the past. I grew up, just the way Bill said, in my town of Indianapolis, Indiana. And I grew up in America, an apartheid nation. Despite all of that, my mother, a single woman with a 9th grade education, put 2 or 3 words in our heads. Love of one another, faith in God and yourself, and get an education. Once you get it up here, they can't take that away from you, and you can take it anywhere. It's been able to take me to the very top. Because despite the fact that it may not be an apartheid country anymore, America is not where we need her to be. And where she is where we, black people, have led her. Out of slavery, out of a civil war, out of Reconstruction. And we had to do that by doing a lot of different things. We had to do that by getting a president to sign an Emancipation Proclamation by an executive order. We had to do that by getting them to amend the Constitution of the United States at least 3 times. We had to get a Civil Rights Act. We have to renew that like people renew their driver's licenses. That's how we have to renew our rights in the land of the free and the home of the brave. We, the people of color, have led America to her promise, the promise that their founders wrote in the Declaration of Independence. We know that the American justice system is not broad enough yet for all of us. We saw that in Genesis 6. We know that maybe they're not burning crosses anymore, but they're hanging nooses to scare us. We know what terrorism is. When 9/11 happened to my generation, we saw it. Bill mentioned Malcolm X. If he were alive, I bet he would have said what he said then. Chickens coming home to roost. And it's not that this nation deserved it, but you reap what you sow, whether it's at home or abroad. But you, my future, you will lead not only yourselves out of the dilemmas, whatever they are, you will lead our people beyond where we led them, and you will lead this nation. Bill has decided, at my request, but he's agreed to it, I couldn't do it without him, to allow our fund. We are blessed. I have been given a bounty to grow up in apartheid America and a government project to end up, let me go back even further. My father fought in World War II. He was at the liberation of a Nazi concentration camp. And when he came home to Kentucky to his mother's house, he was afraid to wear his uniform because colored boys weren't allowed to wear those heroes' uniforms in the South. So he packed his uniform in his suitcase and he rode on the back of the bus. He served his nation, and his nation rewarded him with the back of the bus and a cross burning on his mother's lawn when he got home. But the promise of America is that less than 50 years later, I, his daughter, that soldier's daughter, grows up to marry the Secretary of Defense who leads this country's military. That is what our martyrs gave to us, our parents gave to us, the slaves, our ancestors gave to us. And in utilizing the opportunity of an education, even in a segregated school, that's what I gave myself. I worked hard. I was determined to be somebody. Nobody, a nation, a race, a hatred was going to keep me from getting what I wanted. I had my eye on the prize. And that's what I want you to do. And I dreamed. Dr. King talks about the dream. We all have dreams, each and every one of you in this room. You probably don't want to share it with your friends because they may laugh at you, discourage you. But hold on to your dreams as you get your grades, as you get your education, as you deal with the society. Hold on to that dream and go for it. My mother used to say, reach for the stars if you have to fall to the treetops. But reach. You can do it. Look at me. Look at me. You can do it. And you will. I am giving, along with Bill, scholarships to students, African American students, with a 4-point, or not so 4-point, but kids who are aspiring to be STEM scholars: science, technology, engineering, and math. Up here, can't take it away. Other nations, we may be deluding ourselves that we are the only superpower. India and China on those subjects are eating our lunch. We're not just having it handed to us in Iraq, in the desert. India and China and other nations are studying STEM: science, technology, engineering, and math. We as a